Hey everybody! So today we're going to be doing something fun. I just got these in the mail. Now, let me explain what these are. So I got some XXXL C-curve tips. And usually you have to buy them in the bags, but a friend of mine sells them in these boxes, and she also customizes the boxes. So you can see right there, I got mine customized with my tag or whatever. Let me show you why these are so special. So these are the normal XXL C-curves right here, which are fairly long. They're pretty long, you know. You've seen me wear these before, they're very long. These are her XXL C-curve tips. So these are, and this one's a pinky, this is a size smaller. So let me find the size 6s. Oh, here we go. Okay, so these are about a ½ inch longer on each nail. So they are super, super aggressively long. But I really like that I can get them in the boxes and not have to deal with all the bags, and the customization is just adorable. So in honor of my cool stuff coming today, and the price isn't bad either, and she'll customize it with whatever you want, so I was really excited to get these. I've been waiting a while, plus these are really hard to find in this length. I don't know if you can tell, but compared to my nails, which are very long, these are quite a bit longer. So if you're looking for that super extra long, this is where you get that without having to sculpt. I had her put her thing on here. You can reach her on Instagram at Proper Beauty with 3 R's, but I'll link it in the description below. So in honor of getting these today, we are going to go over how to work with the XXXL C-curve tips. Anyway, how to shape them, how to apply them, because of the way the curve goes, it can be a little difficult to size them properly. We're going to go over how to properly apply acrylic and how to build the apex on these, because it's a little different. It's not the same way you would with regular nails. It's not going to be in the same spot, so we'll cover all that. Application is a little different because of that curve. I know you're not supposed to press down on your tips to get them to apply because they can pop off, so I'm going to show you how to get around that. You are going to have to press down a little bit, but this will show you how to get around that. But super happy these showed up, and you guys know I love supporting small businesses, so if you get a chance, check her out. I've bought a few things from her actually. My brushes came from her, and her stuff's always really good quality, so check her out. Now, moving on to business, I'm going to show you how to properly size these. These are well-less, but you're going to size them just like any other tips. The only thing is you're not going to go as... You want to line up the barrel of the tip with the growth channels, because when you go to press these down, it's going to spread a little bit. You don't want this part here to be how you size them. You want it to be this part down here because of the way they spread when you press down. So you want to just make sure that lines up down here and ignore this spread right here, because we're going to take care of that. Now, because you are going to have to press down just a little bit, you want to make sure you buff the end of the natural nail really good to give it something to stick to, or your practice hand, whatever. Just so, because you're going to have that issue with them trying to press back, which normally, yeah, you're not supposed to do that, but with these you kind of don't have a choice because of how deep the curve is. So I'm going to show you another thing you can do to help you not have to press so hard. I am going to show you how to make a stiletto out of these, because when you want them that long stiletto, usually you have to sculpt them. I'm going to show you how to do that with these without having to do that. So now, before you start applying, the first thing you can do to help this situation, because of the curve on these, normally this part is needed to follow the curve of the nail. However, you don't need them to go up that far. So what you can do is take your straight edge clippers, and you're going to clip some of that side off. Now, you don't want to clip too much. You just want to kind of take the edge off and kind of angle it down. Now we're gonna have to file these into place, so you don't wanna take too much. You just wanna make it enough so that you don't have to push down too far. And it's gonna help get rid of some of that spread. So it's kind of hard to see because they're clear. You can see where I clipped off right there. And then when you go to push down, it's still gonna spread, but you don't have all that extra hanging off the edge right here, which you don't need. So go ahead and pop these on. I dumped this brush on glue everywhere earlier, and it's so liquid that it spread all over, so I had to take everything apart. It was bad. I still have glue all over my hands. I glued myself straight to the table trying to clean it up. So you want to make sure that they're lined up properly before you start pressing down, and get that barrel lined up with the growth channel. And you want to hold them for a few seconds just because you do have to push. So you don't want to release too early and have them pop off before the glue is dry. We'll go ahead and pop these on, and we're going to go over shaping and how to get the different shapes, yada yada. Let's go ahead and get this one on. And again, we're lining the barrel up with the growth channels before we press down so that we don't have to redo it 5 or 6 times. And this is where you really want to work on your application, because you aren't going to have a ton of shaping with these. That's kind of the point of the C-curve tips, is you want to keep that shape. You don't want to have to file it all away. So, all right, so I'm going to blend these real quick, and then we will get to shaping. All right, guys, we are back. I got my nails blended. So first things first, we're going to look at the sides of these. Now you can see where I cut them, the C-curve comes down pretty far on the side, which that's just the way it is. So the way we're gonna file these is we're gonna kind of angle it down. Let me point this out. We're gonna angle it down from the sidewall all the way down until it makes a straight line, so you can't even see that drop down. So basically we're gonna file off all of this. Now, if you're still gonna want to keep that deep C curve, you can just bring it down to meet the corner, or you can file it straight, but then you lose a lot of that C. So what I like to do is to just bring it down diagonally. And you can use your clippers to cut some of that off so you're not filing forever. We are going to be using the scissors to do the stiletto, which I'm going to show you in just a second after we shape this one. So get that excess off of there, and as you can see, we still have that spread right here, which we're going to file that off as soon as we get these sides taken care of. And thank God it's a silicone hand, because I'm going to twist the crap out of it so you guys can watch what I'm doing. So we're just going to, and just like you would do on a regular person, you're going to bring it down diagonal like this. Just make sure you're keeping that file nice and straight so that you don't have any curves here. And you're really filing underneath, not along, oh, you can't even see that. You're filing underneath, not along the sides like this. You're going to be going kind of diagonal underneath. Now see, we just have a little bit of a curve, and now that we've gotten that drop down off of there, we can take care of that. Then you're just going to come underneath. Now, if we're gonna do stiletto, and you can see we kept our entire C-curve there, but our sides are nice and narrow and they still come down. Now, for stiletto, most of these tips have a little point where they break them off the plastic, and that just so happens to be dead center on the nail. So you want to make sure that you're following that center line along the nail, and we're just gonna cut. You want to start small, don't just cut from the center over. You want to just take it off in pieces. That way you don't cut too much, and work your way up. And we're going to cut all the way back to that sidewall. Same thing on this side. Just making sure that you're going diagonal. Make sure you're using straight scissors. And then we're going to do the same thing and just keep repeating that until you get it where you want it. All right, so we have our basic shape there. It's close enough that we can start working it with our file. And then same thing, you are going to clean up that sidewall and kind of work it underneath, because that's where we're filing at with the C-curve. We're not really working on sides, we're working under and pulling up. Real quick before we start applying acrylic though, I want to go over the little spread issue right here, which there's not too much of once you file down here, but basically you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take your file at this angle, like this, and you're going to just take that little bit of spread off right there. Again, you're going to pull the skin back on the cuticles and file that little bit of spread away so that it's all lined up with the growth channels. And it doesn't take a whole lot, so you're not going to have to like beat it to death. You're just going to skim the sides where you have that at. And now that we've got everything nice and shaped and filed, we're going to go ahead and start applying our acrylic. And we're all set. And you see how we got rid of that wide part right there? And get some of that dust off. Now, we are going to also, we're going to go ahead and lay our clear. As you guys know, we lay our base foundation of clear to give it strength and protect the nail beds from staining if you're using colored acrylic, because colored acrylic is weak, which, you know, we've talked about before, so you guys know that. So we're just going to do a quick little bit of clear on here, and then we'll go ahead and get to applying our acrylic. Now I'm going to be using my Trop Exotic acrylic. I just got these and I haven't really got to use them all that much, so I'm pretty excited. We're just going to touch on a couple things real quick. First of all, we're laying our colored acrylic because, you know, it's weaker, so we're going to end up capping that in clear. However, I want to go over how to deal with the sides so they don't end up super bulky, because you're already going to have a lot of bulk with the apex. You really don't want them on the sides or they're going to look wide. So you want to focus the bulk of your acrylic down this center barrel right here, down the C, the top of the C. And then you want to cover the sides, but that's it. You don't want to put a lot of acrylic on the sides because that's not really where it needs it. You'll have enough to keep it from breaking, but it doesn't need to be as thick as the apex and that center line right there. So we're going to go ahead and add some of our colored acrylic, and then we can focus on the apex. And I will show you what I mean with the sides. I love this blue. It's so pigmented. Blue, green, whatever you want to call it. Now, we're going to walk that over to the sides and then start working it down. So you want to, like I said, you want to cover the sides, but you don't want them bulky. So basically just make sure you can't see through them. See how little I have there? And you want to keep the majority of it up here. Now, when you're doing your apex, this is not going to be like a normal nail. Your apex is going to start back here and it's going to end about here. So you want it to raise here and come out here and then start to taper down. You don't want the bulk of it to be right here. You want it to be back a little further. You need that bulk to carry the weight. So basically from here to here, and I'm going to show you. Well, now I'm just laying colored acrylic, so we're going to build most of our apex with the clear acrylic, but let's go ahead and get this laid down and I can show you what I mean. Now, if you're using a wider brush, because these tend to be more narrow, what I like to do, rather than switch to a smaller brush, is lay my beads sideways and then work them down. Because if you lay your beads this way, it's going to kind of fall off the sides, which I'm sure you guys probably know. So we're keeping those sides nice and tight. Wow, and this is where we're going to start building our apex. So we're going to have it just a little bit thicker on top. And then start tapering down. Keeping those sides nice and clean. But again, the majority of your apex is going to come from your clear.
Found a pussy in a dollar bin. Guess you your tongue again. Rope burn on your hand. Are you numb yet? I can go into medication. Late at night.
Alright, now I am going to add a little bit more color to help build up my apex. Not too much, but just to kind of help the clear out. Now remember, I said it's going to start back here and work down to here, and then we're going to taper off. So I'm going to lay that right where I want the bulk to be. See how we have a little more, and it's just from here to here. All right, we're gonna let that sit for a second, and I am going to quickly apply the rest here, and then we will go over the clear. Alright, now that we've got the color laid, I'm going to go ahead and add my clear, and we're going to touch on the apex a little bit more. Again, like I said, we're going to be building up from about here to here and then tapering down, and on the sides just a thin layer on the sides for protection. You don't want it to be as thick as the rest of the nail. And you're going to do the same thing on all of them. The stiletto, you're just building a regular apex on that, but you do want it to be a little longer. Same from here to about here. So let's go ahead and do that, and we're going to start our taper right here. So we're just going to work it down the nail. I'm working with Mia's Secret Clear, so I tend to over dry my beads because you know how that stuff runs. Keep those sides nice and tight. Alright, now we start the apex. You can kind of see the thickness difference. That's about what I've added all the way down the length so far. And now we're going to give it a pretty good size bead right where we want our apex to be. We're going to drain that a little bit because we don't want it moving too far. So right here, like I said, we don't want it moving too far. Again, watching your sides. Sorry, I know I keep saying that. I'm mostly talking to myself. We're going to blend that down. We want strength, not bulk. See how much it's raised now? Now we have a pretty good apex right there. So we're just going to smooth that out and add our cuticle bead. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and add my clear to the rest, and then we will come back and take a look at the finished product real quick, and then I have an announcement for you guys. Alright guys, so I finished applying my clear. We have our apexes built nice and clean. You can see how they start way back here and it kind of ends right here as we start to taper down. Let's see, can you get a good look at that? Same thing over here, same thing with the stiletto. The stiletto, not as much, I didn't add as much down here. The bulk of it is right here. So this is where it's gonna be. Same thing on the sides, you wanna keep those nice and clean. And then you're gonna do basically the same kind of filing that you did at the beginning. You're gonna clean those sides up real good and make sure you're getting underneath, because since you're not, like, it's hard to see this as you're applying, you can't really see when you get under it, so you wanna make sure you clean up underneath there. Now, if you've made it this far, congratulations. I am super, super excited about these tips. That's why I decided to make these part of the secret code word giveaway. Now, I am gonna turn off comments. I will put in the comments when we have a winner. I don't want to turn off comments in case anybody has any questions, but I will put it in the description and the comments that we have a winner, or in the title or something, so that you guys know. Code word of the day is just the tip. So first person to comment just the tip in the comments gets, I will have a box of these customized for you and sent to you. You will I just need you to contact me with whatever you want put on them. It can be your Instagram, your Facebook, your website, whatever you want it to be, and she will customize them for you. Just tell me what color, maybe what style of font, and what you want on it. So if you've watched this far, if you're interested, just go ahead and comment just the tip in the comments. And if you see that the title says winner in it, that means I've already found a winner and the contest is over, but I'll be doing more in the next week. So keep your eyes peeled. Now I am going to go ahead and do my filing, which with these, you're just gonna give it a smooth barrel over the entire surface. Again, you wanna keep your file super straight on those sides and basically file up and down like this. That way you don't have any ridges or anything and you get that super sharp shape that everybody loves. And I will come back and show you guys the finished product. Alright guys, here is the finished product. I wanted to give you a good look at the sides here, so you can get a good look at those at that apex. Give you a look at what that C curve should look like and the bulk. This one's a little bulkier than the other because I had to use more pink because it's sheer, but see how the sides are still very thin. And same thing with the stiletto, just a slight from here to here. These ones still very thin on the sides. Might be a little thin at the bottom, but I tapered it super. So anyway, if you're interested in them, go ahead to Instagram at Proper Beauty with 3 R's. And whoever comments just the tip first gets a box of these customized for you. And then I will change the title once we have a winner. Also, if you want to check out the acrylics I use, they're at tropexotic.com. I'll include the link for those too. But if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And as always, thanks for watching.